What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode number 26 of the Duality Podcast, where our motto is living comfortably uncomfortable. My name is Ian Perez, joined by Victor Rivera, Chris Sora, and unfortunately today, Mr. Jonathan Mercado is not joining us. He is homesick, but we send him well wishes. As always, we're four ordinary dudes with extraordinary dreams. What's going on, fellas?
What's happening? He says he is sick. He is sick, but I don't know. I think ever since he hit 30 years old, like it's been downhill for this brother, man. It's like, bro, you're 30 going on 60, or what's going on? I saw him today for some Camp Gladiator stuff. And I was like, bro, you gotta get it together, bro. It's like every week, like you're breaking apart. He's like, I'm trying to stay together.
All right. It's my back, and then my leg, my glaucoma, and then my eye, and then sinuses. Something's up with this dude. But his body will get back together. So
yeah, he'll be on next week for sure. But how's everyone's week, man? How's everyone's week been?
Mine was good. As y'all saw, I missed last week's podcast.
Yeah,
we had a family member passing, so it's just, I think right for me just to be on the ready for anything. Make sure my dad's good, my aunts and uncles are good. But last week I actually went to my first. Was it last week? Last week to my first Austin FC game. It was freaking lit. That stadium is nice, dude.
I've been hearing a lot of people posting. I've been going there. It looks live right there, man.
Oh yeah, no, it's in when they say like every commentator's like this stadium is built to be loud. That was loud.
Yeah, it was loud there.
I couldn't talk to Steph without yelling. It was nuts. Actually, on top of that too, so I've always called Steph my wife, right? Legally, we were not married. But last week on the 6th of July, we finally got legally married. So as of then, we're married finally. So we think we've been engaged for like 5 years at that point. So it's finally time just to do it.
Well, congrats. Congratulations.
Thank you. What you got, Chris?
Oh, man. I've just been helping my brother-in-law out a lot, or just figure out like his work situation, and I had to drive him to his interview, and we got him a car. So I've just been helping him settle in during my days off, and then these last couple of days at work, just been grinding. Had a meeting this morning, supposed to be an hour long. It ended up being almost 2 hours, and like,
oh dang,
those are always fun.
It just wore me out. But yeah, that's the gist of it.
Vic, what about you, man?
Just still, just getting acclimated to the new baby. I would say luckily it's been good. The baby hasn't like been too fussy at night. Like he wakes up a little bit, but most of the time he's sleeping. So this is week number 2 going on. So far he's a very good sleeper. So I've been taking the responsibilities of the other kids, of the other smaller ones. So it was rough. It's been a couple rough nights to where my other son, my 2-year-old Caleb, he wakes up and then he usually wants either to like snuggle with either between me and my wife, but because the baby's around and stuff like that, we can't have him there. So I'm sleeping in his bed, and then it's a bunk bed. So it's like my daughter's at the top and then my son's at the bottom. And there's like limited space there. So I'm like cramped up inside with him, and he falls asleep. As long as I'm there, he's cool. And then he falls back to sleep. But I'm like cramped up. My back hurts. I'm like in a bad awkward position. And then last night was rough. I was like, I got out of bed. Like it's really cramped. Like you guys, like we're all like 5. We're on the same height. Like it's like you have to really go down and like get in there with my son. The bunk bed is like their size type of thing.
Yeah, I have a question for you, the two of you, since you both have young children. Do you notice like the babies like waking up like at a certain time each day, or like do they have like a set time where they kind of just naturally wake up or start crying or anything?
I don't even know. I didn't even look at the time. I'm like half asleep myself. When my kid wakes up, I'm just thinking, how can I get him back to sleep the fastest? Because I
Yeah.
know I gotta wake up the next day if I have camp or something like Camp Gladiator or whatever. But I would say my son probably, if I had to guess, he probably wakes up around like maybe like 1 a.m. probably looking for one of us. My son. If I had
Yeah.
to
The
guess.
reason why I was asking that is, like, I mean, obviously I don't have a kid yet, but my freaking pets, they tend to like to wake me up right around like between like 4:10 to 4:30, like almost every night, like the last couple weeks. And I was like, it's just weird that it's always around the same time. And so that made me think of like your children, and like I was wondering if there was similar like cycles, like sleep cycles, I guess.
That's funny. Yeah, Dominic's around the same time. He'll get up between like 3 and 5, and it'll be like I have to go pee, I have to go pee when he really don't have to pee, he just wants to get up. So yeah. And he'll finally pass out and he'll wake up probably after at like 8-ish.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think it's like 1 a.m. But my daughter doesn't. She sleeps right through the night now. Like she used to get up to pee, and then we had to like take her
Mm-hmm.
to the bathroom because she was still like half asleep and like, so we had to help her out. But now she just like sleeps throughout the night.
I've lucked out because I mean Dominic's a big kid and his bed, it's not a bunk bed. It's like one of those beds where it's like lifted, but there's like space under for toys and things. But it's
Oh,
not
okay.
one of those full ones. It's like a half one. So it's
Mhm.
maybe, I don't know, like 3 feet in the air. But he's got steps, and I'm always afraid that he's gonna wake up one day and be half asleep and just like eat it. But he hasn't done it yet. So fingers crossed on that one. But when he has to go, he lets you know, comes barging in, putting a hole in our doors. But y'all said y'all had a funny topic today, Victor. I think you had one. That was a good one. I liked it.
Yeah. All right. If the zombie apocalypse would happen today, and you had to recruit a team, so you can only add 2 more to like your team. So it's you and then 2 other people. Who are you recruiting? As far as you have to recruit from action heroes, any action heroes from any movie. You had to recruit 2 people. Who are you recruiting to your team?
Rambo. Rambo.
Yeah, Rambo was the first one that came to mind.
Rambo.
But
And what you got, Chris?
I'm trying to think of a second one right now, like because yeah, Rambo. It was funny.
I
Rambo was
already got
actually on
my
TV
two.
at
I
work
know.
today.
I
Does
know
the Terminator
who
count? I mean, he's like a robot, but he's still technically like an action hero.
you could.
Who?
The
You
Terminator.
could. T1000.
Terminator.
T1000.
Yeah, he ain't dying. They can bite him only once. Nothing's happening.
Man, second one.
That's a good choice
Action
actually,
hero.
because he can never turn into a zombie.
All right.
Shoot, I don't know.
Well, I'm choosing Jason Statham. All right, whatever movie he's
Okay.
on, he's gonna beat up everyone. And then John Wick.
I was thinking John Wick too.
John
That was a
Wick.
good one.
John
Kills
Wick,
like
yeah,
a
that's-
hu- he kills like 100 dudes every movie. He never gets tired. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
that's
Just gotta make
Uh,
sure the zombie eats his dog, and then we'll be good.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah.
uh,
So those are my 2. Jason
Yeah.
Stadium, John Wick. I feel like those foods kill and like more people than I can possibly,
Yeah.
see in any movie.
I
Jason
guess I was
Statham
thinking
will
more
kick-
classic,
I
Old
like
school.
the
Yeah,
old,
like-
old school.
like Rambo. I don't know. I guess Jean-Claude Van Damme or Jackie Chan or something. He used to fight a lot of people and like
Jackie
always come
Chan
out on
has,
top.
has a lot. Yeah, he can go through little whatever, do this acrobat
Yeah,
thing he does.
He was doing parkour before parkour was a thing.
Dude, no lie right there. That's funny.
Ain't
That's
that the
true.
truth? I didn't even think about that. Chris, you said you had one too, dude? Dude, might as well do 2 today.
Yeah. So I have a story behind mine, but I'm gonna ask you the question first. If you can have one superpower, what would it be?
Ooh.
I'm gonna say one superpower would be read people's minds. I'm gonna do Professor X type of power.
That's not a bad one. I like that. I
Yeah.
like that.
A telepath.
I'm tied between like super strength or flying. I feel like flying would be more convenient at times than super strength, but I don't know. I'm gonna go with flying actually. I think flying is a good one.
If I had
That'd
like
be
a
fun.
secondary choice from telepath, I'd do super speed.
Yeah, I think telepath would be pretty awesome though, because I love to travel, so it just it makes it so much easier to see the world.
Or yeah.
You can teleport, yeah.
You can always do telekinesis. Oh, that's actually another one. Like being able to move stuff with your mind. You just like get on something and move it with your mind, so you'll fly at the same time. Loopholes.
True. So the reason why I thought of this question was like I was driving by a Dairy Queen, and it reminded me of a conversation that me and my wife had when we were in the drive-through at a Dairy Queen. And my wife was asking me, it's like, have you ever seen the blizzard fall out when they tip it or when they turn it over? And I was like,
never,
no.
Yeah.
But I was like, if I can have one superpower, it would be to melt it just enough so whenever they turn it over, it would just drop.
They're like, oh dang, and then they're like, get another one. Yeah.
So yeah, I just thought about it. It kind of made me laugh, so I thought I'd bring it up.
That's hilarious how that actually manifested. Like thinking of melting the blizzard so that they look dumb when they turn it over. Like it.
Your wife is probably like a what is it called, a practical jokester or doing pranks on someone. Just pranking.
Not really, to be honest. I'm usually pranking her.
Instigator.
Yeah, I could see her becoming an instigator.
That's funny. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get going, I guess, boys. So the topic today, I'm going to phrase it in a way and we'll get more in depth about it, but it's self-managing versus time managing. And Jonathan actually posed this question to us in topic. So kind of wish he was here to talk about it, but we'll let him sit it out, I guess. But it's a podcast we listened to and they worded it in a way where it just stuck to me, is that we're so adamant about trying to manage time in our day when in reality, that's just false and wrong. You can't manage time. Time is finite. Once a second's gone, it's gone. Granted, we all have the same 24 hours in the day. So in reality, we need to flip it from time management to self-management. We have all these things we need to get done or want to get done in a day. And kind of prioritizing it and putting emotion behind it will kind of help you, I guess, essentially manage the stuff that you need to get done in your day. So I don't know. What are y'all's thoughts and takes on that phrasing first, like time management versus self-management?
I'll go first. Yeah, so I mean that was an interesting, I think, take on time management. I would say I'm pretty decent. I'm time management. I think I'll say pretty good. I took classes. I've taught it as well. I actually did the Franklin Covey's time management, right? That whole course, I've actually took it. And then it really just kind of blew my mind as when I took it. And it's really, as far as my performance and managing my time adequately, right? It really helped me a lot, like a lot. So this take on really time management, that's what it is, with time management, right? Or managing yourself to kind of get things done, was pretty interesting. So I kind of like agree with a lot of the topic, a lot of the I would say things that they were mentioned in the podcast. I think it was really good. It's a lot of the same thing, but putting like an extra spin on it. So for those that are listening, so mostly time management, right? We've been really taught to just put it prioritize, right? So way to get things done or get things done effectively and efficiently is prioritizing, right? Knowing what's important, what's urgent, what's not urgent, what's not important, and really focusing on those things that are important but not urgent, and kind of tackle those things in a list and a task and kind of work yourself through it. And then that's way you feel that you're getting more things done, or getting, more things done that impact or have more value to you. And then from this podcast, they put a little spin on it that the guy that was, I forgot his name, but it's like we're still gonna keep that concept, what Franklin Covey kind of started, but that this new generation or this new era is that they're putting another equation into the formula to where we're still keeping that prioritized, that important urgently, but spinning into how much of a significance is it in the future for you. And based on that, that quadrant, right, adding not only importance and urgency but significance, then you decide what comes first or whatnot. So I think that was a cool spin on it. I tend to, I would say, agree more than disagree, that you definitely have to think about what brings more impact or more value, more significance, or where you're getting more bang for your buck when it comes to prioritizing yourself to what to work and what not to work. And there are some other stuff in there. I think it's like automate some things, right? Put a process in place, or maybe delegate and things like that to give you more free time, right? Or in other words, multiply your time to where you can really work on things you really kind of care about or matter to you. So I think it was good. I think there were some things that were, to be honest, were worded differently, but it's the same thing we've always taught as far as time management, or we've learned. But I think that piece of significance, I think was what really drilled down to me as far as like, oh, okay, that's pretty interesting. I never heard it, positioned that way.
Chris, what about you, man? What are your thoughts on changing the phrase from time management to more of a self-management?
I mean, I think changing the name works. But I can also, like, he's saying, oh, there's only 24 hours a day. It's like you said, it's a finite thing. But it's not saying, oh, you're managing you're managing what you do with your time. So like, you could still use time management, but there is a better phrase. And I think self-management is a little bit better phrase instead of using time management, because you're doing the same thing, but like Victor had mentioned, like they just kind of emphasized more factors into managing that time that you have each day. One thing that wasn't on the podcast that I kind of read about was like, as far as self-management goes, was like, it's not so much about what do I need to get done today or this week or whatever. It's more like you need to figure out like how to manage things to make them more like efficient for you, make it more realistic for you, like make it more like comfortable, like not necessarily comfortable, that's not the right word, but kind of like almost like self-care. Like, because they're saying usually in today's society, especially as a spouse or a father or an employee, you're doing so many different things for other people. And then as you do those things more and more, you start doing less and less for yourself, and you need to make sure you're doing stuff for yourself before you go and do stuff for other people. And when I read that, I like that way of like thinking as far as self-management goes, because if you can't manage time for yourself, how are you supposed to manage time for everyone else?
It's really interesting you bring that up, because in the podcast, which I don't think you listen to, which is completely fine, they actually say something along that lines of,
did they?
For every yes, we need to learn when to say no to certain things, because by saying no to certain things, we get time back on more important, not really issues, but just situations or tasks we want to get done. Because the way he worded it is for every yes, there's a multitude of no's that come along with that. You're not necessarily saying no, but by saying yes to something else, you're saying no to the other 10 things that you could have or should be doing. So I think
I think I did hear that actually. Yeah.
And I think that comes to kind of a good thing we can discuss, because a lot of the things when we think about production, so in why people look into time management, because they want to either like produce more, right? So like you want to do more with time that you have, right? So the idea when what Ian is talking about is that a lot of us say, let's say on depending what your career is, what the sector of business or whatever you're doing is that, hey, the more I do, the more I'm, the more projects I do, the more clients I take, the more I'm gonna produce, or more profit I'm gonna make, or whatever. But so that's kind of what kind of the idea is, that sometimes when we say yes a lot, right, we're also saying no to something else. And so I think and I think that's a good way. I think it's a great way to think about it, because sometimes when we say yes a lot to things, we might be saying yes to things that maybe are not impactful or bring a lot of significance to what we're trying to do. So if you're like into, if you're doing your own business, or maybe just in life in general, right? If you're doing things and just saying yes to everything because you think that's how you're going to get most things done or get more out of it, you might be doing a lot of busy work, right? Just spinning the wheel, but not really spending the time on the things you really want to, kind of spend the time on. And that's what I think it's a lot of us, I think, I think I was before, I learned how to, self-manage. That's what we're talking about right now, how to self-manage myself. I feel like I was doing a lot of things, right? I feel like I was working a lot. I was doing a lot of things, but I wasn't really getting a lot done, right? So like, oh, I'm working a lot, I'm doing a lot, but man, how come I feel I didn't really get anything done? Right? So a lot of people kind of feel that way, either in personal life, professional life. I think most of the time, like on a professional level, sometimes we feel like we're doing a lot, but maybe not getting a lot of things done. And I think that's when it comes to where, hey, maybe sometimes you got to say no to certain things, because they're just a lot of busy work, right? It's a lot of things that really doesn't, gets there's no production value, right, on those things, right? So a lot of things that came up was like, we live in an age where it's, we have social media, we have like entertainment and things that are really like our phones, right, are very easy to access, that can distract us. We can spend time on things that really don't bring us value to, or bring us closer to whatever our life goals are. So I think it takes like discipline, like you got to say like no to certain things, to then say yes to the things that really matter. I don't know what y'all think about that.
Yeah, I like the part where you were talking about like how you feel like you're busy, but you don't feel like you're getting enough done. And one thing that I was actually thinking about before you mentioned that, it was like, with time management, when you hear like time, it's like you're almost kind of just setting, like a lot of people set up their calendar, right? But it's kind of like a to-do list. And some people are so focused on the to-do list, that like that it becomes like an obsession. And instead of like just focusing on being productive, they're just focusing on, I need to get this done, I need to get this done, I need to get that done. But sometimes they'll start jumping around and do one thing and then go to something else, come back to it, instead of just focusing on one solution at a time. And they're so focused on doing this at this time instead of, I mean, you need to have flexibility, because like sometimes something's going to come up and it's not going to be on your calendar. And you're going to have to be able to adjust and figure out, okay, what is the more significant thing or the higher priority as well, that I need, that I'll still have to get to today, but it doesn't have to be at the time that I set it for. And then the things that are not as important, maybe they can just kind of push it off to the next day, or like add it on to something else.
Yeah, I think that's, again, it's a good way, again, that to kind of prioritize. So one of the things, that like I said, that I think brought more, kind of made me think a little bit, was the significant part. So I think from the part from what we're talking about self-managed, is that the other part of the equation is thinking about significance. So like what is going to matter like in like the next 10 days or the next day. So when you think about what you're doing, I think the gentleman that we listened to that brought kind of this topic up is that like what's going to bring you uh like what's going to matter like the next day or 10 days from now or maybe a month from now, right? So on top of being what's urgent, what's important, or things like that, like what's going to bring you, what's going to matter in the future. And that's how you decide to kind of tackle like your task list, right? And like, okay, this is what I'm going to tackle first because this is going to matter a month from now or a couple weeks from now. This is what matters right now. So I think that was something that kind of a little like a light bulb in my head. I'm like, okay, that's I think a very unique way of thinking about it and how to manage yourself or manage your own time on what you focus on a daily basis. What do you guys think about that?
I liked it. I think the way he worded it was, what can I do today that'll give me more time tomorrow? Tomorrow being, relatively to tomorrow or in the week or so. And I like that he paired that with emotion, like giving yourself an emotional permission to be able to do something right then and there. Like an example for me this past week was Dominic wanted to play, but I had to do the yard. And of course, I'm going to play with my son, and it sucked not to play with them, but I have to do the yard right then and there so that even after that same day or the next day, I have the time that I can just go out there and play with them. So I really liked how he paired those two together on figuring out what on your list has the most significance. So that's my take on it.
And I liked, I think he referred to it as like the 30 times rule. Like, so he was saying, like you were talking about multiplying your time. He had mentioned, like you need to like teach someone else, like maybe it's like something that takes 5 minutes to do. You need to teach them 150 minutes worth of it, of that time to get it down. So then that way you don't have to worry about it. And he had mentioned like, well, people might think like, why would you spend 150 minutes working or teaching someone to do something that takes 5 minutes? And he was saying how that was relative. He said, yeah, it's we're not doing 150 minutes at one time. It's 5 minutes a day. And if you think about like that 5-minute task that I do every day, if you take it over a certain time frame, I think he said over a year, ends up being about like 1,200 minutes as opposed to like 150 minutes that it took to teach that person. And that's 100. So that'd be like 1,200 minutes that you had back to yourself, or that you had back, that you got back, that you can use for something else.
Yeah, I think that was a good take. I think that was a good kind of spin on how to think like time in the future, right? Like, I think this guy's idea was as far as self-managing is like think of things in the future, right? So what you do today, like what Ian was saying, what you do today is gonna kind of free you up in the future. So I think of you brought up about the emotion, about saying, hey, you like don't put emotion into it, like be rational about it when you're managing you're self-managing yourself. And then like maybe you can automate some things, right? Or delegate to where you can spend that time, like spend that 30 times whatever time to teach someone else, or work on somewhere to automate some things that can be done where you don't have to do it yourself. But then in the future you get that time back, and then you can focus on some other things. I think he brought up the fact that for us, like paying your bills online, right? It might take you 5 minutes whatever to do it, but if you set up auto bill pay, like it might take you 3 minutes or whatever it is to set that up, but in the future it will free you up to do other things.
You don't have to worry about it. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm so worried about that. I don't mean to get off topic. I'm really weird about auto bill pay. I am
like too, to be honest.
Fact of it.
Yeah.
I like me like typing it in and hitting and seeing that it's submitted, even though I know it's
I do
the same
thing.
day. I don't like it, even though it would save me a couple minutes every day. But
I mean, I do it for like my cable / internet bill because it gave me a discount. But I mean, it just charges my credit card, and then but then I still pay off my credit card like manually. Like I don't put those on auto pay.
Yeah, I don't
in the
have an
morning.
auto pay for anything as well. Because like when he was saying that, I was thinking about it, like, but like the way like I have everything set up, it's like it doesn't like I can't have it on the same day. Like, I can't pay my bill on the same day every single month. It's kind of weird.
Uh,
So I have to do it. But I will say this though, I do plan ahead. Like I do like when the first week of the month comes in, like I know what day I'm gonna pay something. So I do put like a future date on things.
you get paid
Like
monthly, don't you? Or you get paid quarterly?
so I get paid monthly, but well, I would say it depends. Everything. Like I get paid and it's never on the same day. Like most people get paid like every 2 weeks or first or the
Hmm.
15th. Like mine's different now that I'm with like Camp Glider. It's like the pay is a little different. The pay schedule. So I kind of future do it. So I kind of do what he says, but I manually do it for myself. Like I do a future date, so I put a date, I pay it. I do it manually, but I put a future date on it, so I know it gets paid. And so I'm not late or anything like that. But I think the idea or the concept of, if you can automate something or set a process for something, I think is good, because sometimes we definitely feel sometimes that we have to do everything like ourselves, when there's a lot of things we get down to think about it, like you can probably have someone else to do it. Even if you have to pay someone to do it, right? I think like for example, cutting grass, right? Let's say you had maybe your yard was bigger than it is today, right? Maybe you had like, I don't know what a big acre of land is, but like a huge part, right? If you own, a big acre of land, you had to mow it. Maybe it'll be more value to you to pay someone to do it than it is for you to do it, because it'll create more value for you to work on something else, and it is to, spend 45 minutes mowing your lawn or something like that.
Man, shoot, with my yard now, I really don't want to do it myself, but I still do it. But yeah, I hate mowing the lawn. Like, I mean, I guess it's not that bad. I listen to podcasts or music or whatever, but it takes me forever, and
Yeah.
because I'm picky about how I do it too. So yeah, I can't wait until I can pay someone to do
I mean, yeah.
it.
So, I mean, those are things you think about, right? And that's just one thing, but it could be something else that you feel like you spend a lot of time on. Like I said, it's just like we always say, right? Self-analyze, kind of go through your day and think, hey, what do I spend a lot of time on that maybe doesn't, you know, bring that significance, that matters in the future, or maybe something I can get back, as far as managing yourself, that you can maybe automate or set like something on in the process for.
That's good. That's actually a good segue, because I was going to ask. I mean, we kind of have this concept down now, I think, as to what self-managing or time managing kind of is. Um, what are some things that you each feel like you're good at when it comes to self or time managing, and then what are some things that you need to improve on?
Man, that's a good question. I think for me, I think I do a good job of, um, I would say, scheduling or knowing like how much something would take, right? As far as that, but I think I still need improvement of what this, what about we learned about, this topic is what's going to bring more significance, right? And as I always attach when I time manage or I self manage myself is I've always looked at what's going to bring me more value, right? To where I'm going to get more back from. That's when I spend the most time at. So, but I never looked at in the future. I really looked at more of like what's going to bring me more value, like right now. I never thought about like in the future, like what I do now, and then what's going to bring me like 3 weeks from now or whatever. What's going to bring me more time if I do it now or I spend this time now. So I think it's just that, it's just knowing or analyzing, like, hey, what matters, what's going to matter in the future, and let me spend more time on that. So I think that was the thing that I think I need to work on more is just what's going to bring me more production or more, or what I want in the future. And I should just focus on that.
What about you, Chris?
That's a good question. I've always been a great procrastinator. Like,
Me too.
I've always like thrived on it. Like, I've always done good work. I mean, it probably could get better if I didn't procrastinate at times. I mean, I've improved over the years. Like, as I gotten older, I try not to procrastinate as much unless it's just something I'm really dreading. But even those, I'm trying, like those type of things, I'm trying to be better about. Um, I think for me, what I can work on is, I would say, when I come up with the schedule, like for myself, when I put it in my calendar, is like I would like to actually complete everything on the calendar. Like, because a lot of time I'll put a bunch of things on there, and I'll get the majority of it done. And I guess maybe it's not that bad of it. Not that bad because, like they had mentioned before, like sometimes you have to be adaptable with your schedule. But I feel like sometimes like I'll look at that as like, oh, that can wait until later, instead of just knocking it out when I set it up for.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of the same boat, to be honest. I'm really bad. I procrastinate in a lot. I think one thing, or really a couple of things I'm good at, is when it comes to other people and like respecting their time. And if I promise to do something, I make sure I do it. And I think like the opposite side of that coin is I kind of put stuff that I should do for myself on the back burner. An example being, and my dad actually worded it a really good way, is that um, a lot of people say they're going to work out and then they get upset when they look at themselves and they're not in the shape they want to be in. When they, instead of getting mad at that instance, they need to get mad at the fact that they said they were going to work out and didn't work out. Put some emotion behind that. You promised yourself you were going to do something, when if somebody else promised you something and they didn't do it, you'd be pissed off. But the fact that you promised yourself you were going to do it and didn't do it, you're fine with. I think saying no or like saying yes for myself, which would put obviously no's behind it, like working out or like taking time just to go for a walk and listen to a podcast. um, Another bad thing is I play a lot of video games. I gotta say no to video games, which will free up a couple hours, actually a handful of hours a week for me. um, so yeah, there's
Yeah, I'm
definitely
bad
a
about
lot.
TV.
Yeah, yeah. I would say I blame COVID just because we were stuck in the house, but I was doing that before COVID, so I can't use the excuse.
Yeah, I think we all have those things those like that like a non-productive hours, but I think you can also, like I said, you still need that like time for yourself. So we're not saying as well like, hey, don't do the things that you love to do or that are fun to do. I think you can always do that. I think for me, it's like you always can put that time to watch the show or whatever, but like then binging on a show, and when you have to study for like a test or something, but you're still like watching a TV show for like hours, then that's a different story. But if you need like a break, from something like, or you're working and you need a break, hey, it's good to take a break, refresh your mind, do something else, and then that's fun or whatever, and then come back to whatever you're working on. But yeah, and like
I
go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think you're right though. It is important that you do take those breaks for yourself, or else you're just gonna burn out. So yeah, that is a part of self managing, is being able to realize that you need that break, and just doing something that you don't really need to think about. Like, just relax. Like, like relax your mind, relax your body, relax, just your mental state, like in general. um because if you're go 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 24/7, like in the long run, it's gonna be more detrimental than beneficial.
100%.
Yeah, 100% on that. Like, so like when you're managing yourself, like it's not all business. Also set that time to kind of refresh, get your mind right. Cause also, because that they've shown too as well, as far as to be more productive. I think for every, I forget what it is, like for every like couple of hours or whatever that you work, you got to give yourself like 15 minutes of like a break. I forgot what it is. I know there's a book on that. to become more productive. Like more breaks were equal more or something. So you get more focused and refreshed. So, but yeah, so definitely put in that within all those things that you're doing to manage yourself and get more things done and be more productive. Definitely add those things to those moments where you just don't think about any work, anything that's related to your business or whatever. Just do things for yourself to kind of refresh and then get back to the grind.
I like it. I think that's a good stopping point, fellas. It was good talk. What y'all got for the week? Vic, what you got for the week, man?
What is it, Thursday? So we got CG Games. So the company I'm with, I train with, Cam Gladiator has their Cam Gladiator Games, which is like a big course competition. So
drop the promo. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so this is the first weekend, this Saturday, CG Games going on here in Round Rock, North Austin. So I'm going to be pretty much I'll be all weekend. So Friday at night, setting up the course, and then being right back there, same spot, like at 4 a.m. So all day thing going on there. So pretty exciting stuff. It's going on there. So I'm gonna compete too. I'm competing. So I'm gonna give it all out there.
Yeah.
Trying to make CG final. That's my goal, to make CG final. If I can qualify for CG finals, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think I was maybe part of the first. So CG is how old?
It's gonna be 12, 13 years or on there.
CG Games. How old is CG Games?
Oh shoot, I don't even know how old that is. How many years have been doing it?
I have a CG game story that involves Jonathan. I'm gonna let him share it just because it's funny. But I did one. I think it was in the first year of CG Games, and Jonathan told Stefan, "Yeah, just sign up. It's basically like camps, just a little bit more." It wasn't like camps, and it wasn't like more. It was a lot more, and I think there was like 3 or 4 events, and I did one of them, and I had baby deer legs. I'm like, I'm just gonna stay for the Gatorade and watch people just kick ass. That's no thanks. What you got for the week, Chris?
Before I get to that, I was gonna say, like, they always try to get me to do the CG games, and I was like, I'm not trying to like
blow my knees out.
I'm not competing like to work out. Like, that's not something that really catches my attention. But as far as my week goes, I'll just be at work all week. I work through Sunday. So yeah, nothing exciting on my end.
That'll be fun, man. I'm back at work actually as of last week, so I'm still getting the swing of things. Valerie's getting, I think, a little easier. If I were to look at Steph right
Perfect
now,
timing.
She probably would like roll her eyes at me. As of right now, my oldest daughter's in Vegas right now with my mother-in-law. They should be back here within the next week.
Cool.
My mother-in-law was working in Oregon as like a travel nurse. So her time up there was done. She flew Kendra out there. They went from Oregon. They drove down the Cali coast, chilled there for a couple of days, went over to Nevada. I think I'm gonna drive back down to Texas. So I'm jealous. I think the furthest west I've been is Vegas. I haven't been any further west than that. But I'm gonna leave you with one quote, and it's from the man that we, based this topic off of. Is Roy Vaden says, "There's no such thing as time management. There's only self-management." As always, we appreciate your time today. Till next time, peace and love.